About it. Anyone at all? All right. So to continue on with that, the body communicates through neural. That is the medical term. What do you know that neural means? English. What? I can't hear you. Now what? I actually could not hear you because of all the squeaking in the chairs. What does neural mean? You might have said it. I just honestly could not hear you. If somebody's whispering it, I still can't hear you. I have that going on. I have outside noise. I'm not telling you. So, yes, sir.
Right.
The brain? Let's be more generic. Nerves is correct. Nerves is correct. Good job. All right, so the body communicates through the nerves, medically known as neural, and hormonal control systems. All right, those are the two things that control homeostasis. I talked about that yesterday. Receptors. When you think of the word receptor, what do I want you to think of? Again, I'm not telling you. I talked about this yesterday. Yes, ma'am?
Receiving information.
Receiving information, and where does it send the information to?
To the control center.
Which is made up of?
The brain.
And? Yes, good job, guys. Way to do it. All right. All right, so the receptor responds to changes in the environment. It is the ends of the nerves that are around every single organ in your body. The skin is an organ, brain is an organ, heart is an organ. Every single organ in the body, that's what it is, okay? So it responds to any changes, any at all, whether it's outside your body, because you have sensory neurons up against your skin, or whether it's inside your body, because, I don't know, maybe, somebody actually said that they started having pain in their stomach and was taking Tums for it. But so now this is the nerves, okay? This is the receptors, sensory receptors, telling the brain there's pain. It got worse and worse, and before, because she's stubborn, she didn't go in the hospital, and actually she didn't have a choice, her appendix burst. So, but that's what we're talking about when we're talking about response to changes in the environment. It could be internal environment or external environment. It sends information to the control center. As the ladies here so appropriately put it, that is the brain and the spinal cord. And it interprets that information and sends it back to usually muscles, but whatever is necessary, okay? Maybe you need hormones to be sent there. Maybe you need white blood cells, which are part of the lymphatic system, to be sent there. Whatever needs to be done, it is your brain and spinal cord. Who can tell me, does the spinal cord interpret all the information? No, that is correct. What is the only thing it does interpret?
Like fast reflexes?
Absolutely, good job. Reflexes, yes. Everything else is interpreted by the brain. Control center determines the set point. In other words, where or what's happening, where is it happening? It analyzes the information, figures it out, okay? It determines appropriate response. I already taught you this yesterday, but here it is in words for you. So it's real simple. Where is it happening? What's happening? And what should I do about it? And then sends a response to do what to your body? What's the number one purpose of our body?
Protect yourself.
Right on, kids. All right, effector. When you think of effector, I tried to give you a visual to remember. Begins with an E. What did I tell you is a good way to remember effector?
Exit.
Exit, exactly. So So if you're thinking effector, exit, here for you that are visuals, okay? Effector, exit, woo, you grab those, okay? Now if you don't forget that, if you forget that, there's something wrong with you. So, all right, motor, okay? It required muscles and me shuffling out that door, motor, all right? Effector, that means motor nerves. In other words, a means for the response to the stimulus. Whatever that response is, it doesn't have, it might be debris in the air is coming into your eyes, and the brain interprets that and sends a motor response to close your eyelids. Do you understand? It can be anything at all. Anything at all. So no, don't just think of big things. It could be as simple as that. All right. Now that's external. Again, there's internal as well. Okay. Well, I can tell you that if you don't drink enough water, or you're short on magnesium, you will develop muscle contractions. Unfortunately, they tend to go into the biggest muscle, which is your gastrocnemius, medical term for calf muscle, but that's usually your body's already trying to tell you it's thirsty. Magnesium would be something that you are craving a certain food item. I'm not talking about junk food, okay? If you're craving junk food, that's not your body trying to protect itself. If I'm talking about craving something like bananas or tomatoes, you know, something that, yeah, too much information. I was going to tell you something that somebody was eating some edamame, and which is a legume, which is, you know what it is, don't you?
Edamame?
Yeah, but I call it edamame. Yes, it's those little.
The beans.
Yes, and somebody was eating them, and I started salivating. So that means there's something, I mean, they're okay, you know, I can take them or leave them, but there was something going on in my system that I was already aware of, and was thinking about doing what I needed to do to correct it. Hadn't done it yet, and then when my mouth started salivating at his stupid beans, I realized, all right, you know, we tend to be our own worst doctors, okay? So I took care of it. But that's my point. Your body will tell you what it needs. Always, always, always. You just have to learn to listen to it and obey it, which I'm so bad about. So bad. All right. Got that. Okay. You all remember negative feedback. This includes almost all of your homeostatic control mechanisms. All right? It shuts off the original stimulus, or it reduces its intensity depending on what is required. Maybe you still need calcium, so you still need the osteoclast to break down some of those long bones for the calcium. But it's like, okay, we're almost there. We're at about 85%. Slow it down. So that's what it means by just reducing its intensity. Once your calcium reaches the level it needs or over the level it needs, which is it, guys? First one, the level it needs, or second one, over the level it needs? Over is correct. That's right. Once it reaches over the level that it needs, then it will automatically shut off them. But until then, it might just reduce its intensity. Okay, there's the thing where it's like a household thermostat. Again, I taught you that. Here's the positive one, okay? Positive feedback. It increases the original stimulus to push the variable further, all right? In the body, this only occurs in blood clotting and birth of a baby, so there you've got it. Positive feedback. Highlight increases stimulus. Occurs in blood clotting and birth. You don't have to say of a baby. What else are you going to burn? You know, so it's, of course you know it's a baby. That keeps it short and simple for you. Positive feedback increases stimulus in blood clotting and birth. Notice I took all that and made one sentence out of it. That's how you study, all right? And we are done with B. That is what I wanted to do. Oh. They're using my bio kit.
What project are we starting, Dr. Downey?
The scientific method project, I'm not sure because of the year before having the death of my mom and then last year the death of my brother, I changed stuff up. So I don't even know, did you get the scientific project? Yeah, because for those 2 years they didn't, they had to put you on a long one, you know. Yeah, that's the one. And actually, I'm surprised that a lot of them are doing really, really good. That's good. Yeah, I'm very impressed. Getting them, I noticed the buttons was out. So I took away the white out. You know, I've taken away things that they, and now they're writing graffiti on the buttons. So I'm like, okay, we're done. I tried, you know, but yeah. I would not have it. All right, quiet up. We're now on C. Thank you for shushing them. That helps me out. So, verbally describe the anatomical position or demonstrate it. You two ladies, stand up, face the group. One to the left, one to the right so they can all see. No, over there to the left so they can see. And you're fine there. Anatomical positions, please. All right, Rebecca, where do your feet point?
In front,
And your body is?
to the front.
And where are your hands? Palms facing forward, exactly. Good job, guys. FYI, that's the kind of stuff you learn, along with everything else, in the study group. And I really only have one person who's here all the time. She's come, so that's good. So you guys need to realize it does help. That is the anatomical position. You have to know that because everything you're learning, not only in this chapter, but all the way through anatomy, just like you have to remember that the number one purpose of the body is to protect itself, because that helps you when you are figuring things out, like, you know, critical thinking, why might this be happening? But that also is because knowing that that is how the body is and how you look at it, literally every single system I give you, that's what you're looking at. So like, for example, when you look at me and I say, put your hand on your left side of your chest, and you look at me and you see me go like that, what's the first thing you instinctively want to do? You're looking at me, where do you want to put your hand? So, yeah, that's instinctively. You see my hand here, you automatically want to follow that same thing. But if you do, you've actually put your hand in the wrong side. Why is that important? Because when we study cardiovascular and respiratory, you're going to see me saying stuff like, okay, you know, you've got your superior vena cava going into your right atrium, and then dropping down to your right ventricle, and then coming back up your pulmonary trunk, bifurcating into the left and right lungs. They one comes in on each side, but two leave, and when the two leave, the one on the left goes behind the one on the right. They both come in. All four enter the left atrium, drop down to the left ventricle, come up the ascending aorta, and then I start talking from there. That's how fast I move. So you need to know your anatomical position. You need to know that every single doctor, all doctors, look at this anatomical position and know when I'm looking at you, Rebecca, put your hand anywhere you want on your upper torso. Okay, so I know automatically that she's touching her left. Right away I knew that, because anatomically I'm reversing it. You have to start thinking that fast and in reverse, okay? When I'm looking at you and you're looking at me, it's always anatomical, always anatomical. But if I'm going like this, you automatically need to realize I'm touching my left shoulder, not my right, because you're gonna think, oh, right, because that's where you see my hand. Not the case. When I show you things up on the board, same exact situation, okay? I'm gonna be saying, you're gonna be looking at it and you're gonna go, that's the right side, but you're gonna hear me say left. You understand? That's left. It's not right. Why? Because that's what I'm looking at. You understand? So, left, right. Okay. Let's see. Use proper anatomical terminology to describe the body's directions, surfaces, and body planes. You have all of these in handouts. You should have already had them studied, because unfortunately for you, your quizzes are going to come probably 1 or 2 a day to make sure that you know this information. So you should know this information. Locate the major body cavities. That's another handout I gave you. And list the chief organs in each cavity. So, language of anatomy. Here we go. Special terminology is used to prevent misunderstanding. Exact terms are used for position, direction. Direction might be superior to this, inferior to this, lateral to this, distal to this, proximal to this, and there's little tricks to that. Your regions is where your body is broken into regions, and you have to know, umbilical region, inguinal region, because if there's something going on, you have to know. If I said the appendix, you need to know I'm talking the inguinal, and I say, like left hypochondria, hold on, my brain's not working. We'll get to it and I'll show it to you. Then you need to say, wait, that's not true. It would be the right side, because the appendix is on the right side. So that's why you need to know regions and then structures. So you should recall this. I told you to memorize this side and this side, all right? Superior also can mean cranial, which is head, cephalad, which is head. Those are both heads, okay? The forehead is superior. The forehead is superior to the nose. Forehead is superior to the chin. Forehead is superior to the lips. The nose would be inferior to the forehead. The chin would be inferior to the nose. Always touch the first one, okay? The forehead. So you know, okay, we're talking about the forehead. What is it to the nose? Okay? Inferior also means caudal, okay? Caudal, usually when you think of caudal, you kind of think of you know it as tailbone, it's called the coccyx. But always it's down, okay? Inferior is the opposite of superior, so it's down. So, navel, that means I'm talking about the navel, okay, is what to the breastbone? The navel would be inferior to the breastbone. Always touch the one that comes first, and that will help you realize, okay, navel is what to the breastbone, it is inferior to the breastbone. Breastbone, another name for that, which is what I call it, because that's the proper terminology. Unfortunately, in this book, they mostly call it the breastbone, but its name is actually sternum, and I would like you to write that, whether it's on your paper, whether it's, if you have your paper handy. And it's right there. The sternum is a hard bone. You can feel it when you tap on it. It's a hard bone. Its sole purpose is to protect the heart. That is what it does. Your rib cage goes all the way around. We're not going to go into details until we go into the skeletal system, but it's attached to the sternum with hyaline cartilage, so it allows you to bend, okay? But the sternum, which is all we're talking about right now, all right, it is right there and protects the heart, all right? When we're talking about anterior, you need to know you're talking about ventral, in front, anterior, ventral, in front. Think anatomical, think boobs or chest, if that's what you need to do, all right? When we're talking about posterior, you need to know dorsal, okay? Dorsal is the back, okay? Posterior, the back. This kind of helps you as far as the definition, all right? This is where the test questions are, but this helps you understand it, okay? If you haven't been reading the definition, you're not really understanding. In anatomy, you need to learn to read everything, okay? This helps you understand. So, anterior or ventral, toward or at the front of the body, in front of. That's what that means. The breastbone is what to the spine? The breastbone is what to the spine? It is anterior, isn't it? Okay? So if I were to say the spine is what to the breastbone?
Posterior.
Exactly, it's posterior. So in this case, the heart is what to the breastbone? So this is what I would do. The heart is what to the breastbone?
Posterior.
Exactly. I know you're reading it, but do you see how you might, I get a chuckle when I see people doing their exams because their hands are all over the place on their bodies, and that's what it should be. That's how you remember things. Okay, you've got to get comfortable with your body. All right. Next, please understand on quizzes. Please understand on quizzes, I don't have to give you warnings. They're 15 points because there's 15 questions, always true, false. Sometimes there's a word bank, sometimes there's not, okay? If I've given you something and told you to study it, how many days ago did I give you this? I remember. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, today's Thursday. Did I or did I not tell you to study this?
You did.
I know I did. So, yeah, pull up your bootstraps, kiddos, because you're getting your first quiz. All right. So, medial, okay? When we're talking medial, I want you to think of a middle line going straight up and down. Medial, middle line. Everything towards the medial is coming towards this middle line, all right? So when it says the heart is what to the arm, the heart is what to the arms. The heart is what to the arms. Exactly. It's in the center of that. Lateral is away from the middle. Lateral would be away from the middle. So the arms are what to the chest?
Lateral.
Exactly. Okay. Intermediate. This is the only place you'll see this ever. Okay. The armpit is important because it holds a lot of lymph nodes, and it also, unfortunately, can hold cancer. All right. One of the first places they look is lumps under the arms. You know, another name for armpit is axillary. You don't have to know that till we start studying skeletal, but it's the axillary region. But if you notice, the axillary region is actually considered between the shoulder and the sternum, okay? That's what they consider it, between the shoulder and the sternum, right in the middle, so they call it intermediate, okay? The only place you'll see that. Intermediate. Armpit is intermediate between the breastbone and the shoulder, okay? Only place you're gonna see that, ever. Just remember, intermediate is your armpit. Boys, don't do it. But remember when you used to do one of those things? Okay, that might be how you can remember it. Okay? Even though it's talking about the breastbone, is your hand between your arm and your chest?
Yes.
Intermediate. Got it? That might be a way you can remember that. Always look for little ways to remember things, okay? Association. You think you're learning a lot now? Is all I can say. It builds. You're gonna see stuff over and over and over. If you don't learn it the first time, here's the deal. I mark my word on this. That's why I take so much time giving you little hints and trying to explain things in a way you might understand, okay? Like that visual of me hobbling out the door for motor nerves, okay? An action, all right? I don't think you'll ever forget that. When you're 50 years old, you'll probably remember it. So the point is that I try to help you to remember things because maybe it's 2 or 3 systems down the road. And all of a sudden, something's going to pop up to you. I can think of one when we talk about, don't write any of this down, when we talk about, you know, like your pleural cavity, pericardium, visceral, all of that, you're going to see that in like 4 different systems. And they may not be right on top of the other. If you don't learn it the first time, here's the problem. A, I don't really go over it because I know I've already taught it to you and you should have already learned it. B, you will be tested on it anyway, okay? And C, if you didn't learn it the first time, you're gonna have to learn it the second time. You didn't learn it the second, with more information. If you didn't learn it the second time, now you've got the third system with a whole lot more information and back to that same thing that you should have learned the first time. Do you understand? Mm-hmm. Really important, guys, that you learn this stuff. All right, here's a little trick. The only time, just like the axillary or armpit is intermediate, the only time you will ever use proximal or distal is the arms and the legs. That's it, your extremities. The body trunk is the head and the torso, all right? That is superior or inferior. Lateral, oh, I feel like an airline person. Or medial, me. Ooh, that's a good way to remember it. Me. Lateral, medial, okay? When we're talking about proximal, who can tell me, except my girls that were already here studying with me, who can tell me what proximal means? What do you think it means? Yeah, it's proximal means closer. I'm going to make it easy for you, to the torso, okay? Anything, if I say the elbow is what to the shoulder, what would you say? And that's not one's not distal. Did someone say distal? That's correct. That's right. One of my study group people. That's right. Distal means distance, away. Proximal means close. Close to the torso, head and trunk. Okay? Distal means away from the head and trunk. You understand? So, if I said the wrist is what to the elbow, everyone, what would you say? It is what? Distal. Distal is correct. Further away from the body than the elbow. Okay, the wrist is what to the elbow? It is distal. But what if it was reversed? What if I said the elbow is what to the wrist? Proximal. The first one, bless you, is always the one that it's asking the question about. So, if I were to say, my knee, which actually is called patella in medical terminology, you haven't learned that yet though. My knee is what to my ankle? Proximal. Because the knee is closer to the trunk of the body, isn't it? Okay. Then my, what did I say, ankle? Okay. Oh, here's one for you. Y'all know what phalange is? Okay, fingers, good, or toes. So, y'all know what metacarpals are? Metacarpals, okay, is here, phalanges is here. Metatarsals is toe, where the feet are. That's how I help you remember that, is tarsals, as in toe. It's not your toes, because those are phalanges, but you get what I'm saying? So, the metacarpals are what to the phalanges?
Proximal.
Very good, because the metacarpals are closer to my body trunk than my phalanges. Do you understand how that works? Yeah. Okay, good. All right, I don't know why the additional isn't here. Tomorrow we will begin body landmarks. You have to know them. Actually, I'm just going to be honest with you. That's going to be a quiz right off the bat. So you need to make sure you study anterior and posterior landmarks. Meanwhile, I'm going to give you 5 minutes, and then everything gets put away but a pencil, and we're going to have the quiz.